Hi, I'm John Mancini. I'm president of AIM, which is the Association for Information and Image Management. We're at aim.org, and we focus on content and document management. I'm really glad to be the pathway leader for the CEO pathway here at ASAE, and they've given me a bunch of questions that folks have asked, and so I thought I'd try to cover as many of them as possible. Now, the first one relates to what did I talk about in my pathway, my speech, and what I covered was basically 3 disruptors of technology that association CEOs have to deal with. The first of those is consumerization, the second is cloud and mobile, and then the third are changes in the nature of work. And those 3 things combined are creating enormous challenges for associations, both in terms of how we structure our own technology programs, but also in terms of the challenges that our members are facing. And so my key point, my key takeaway was that the CEO has to actively get engaged in these discussions, that we can't afford to have these discussions be purely the province of our IT staffs anymore. Certainly IT plays a critical role, but I think in many ways the CEO has to be the chief technology strategist for the organization. So, some other questions. Integration of technology. We had a couple questions on that, which focuses on, we have all these different best-of-breed applications, and how do you approach this question of integration? And I think there's a couple of things to think about there. The first one is that you have to look really carefully at the best-of-breed applications that you're selecting, because sometimes you can bite off too much technology. We've done that in some applications in the past. And so you have to put an emphasis on keeping applications that are simple. And then secondly, you have to look at the skill set of people that are going to be charged with this integration, because development skill sets are very different than integration skill sets. And balancing those two in an IT department is increasingly complicated because the shift has occurred between focusing on development purely to now focusing on integration. So pay close attention to the skills of people involved in this. Another question here, assessing your members' tolerance and interest in technology. I'm gifted in that regard because I am a technology association. So if I have a problem, it's that my members are way ahead sometimes of me in terms of being able to deliver technology, because they tend to be very, very knowledgeable. I think their expectations of technology when they come to our website are based on Amazon. And so when they come there, they expect basically this little 42-person organization to be able to deliver world-class technology in a way that's comparable to what they get out of Amazon. And that's a key challenge, I think, for us as a technology association, but everybody's going through that these days. You know, you saw that with the Obamacare initiative. You know, whether you like it or whether you don't like it, the IT challenge there is that everybody's expectations of how things work are based on world-class expectations, and if you can't meet them, you're going to be in trouble. Challenges for content development and dissemination. I think there's just one thing that I really think people ought to focus on there, which is the idea of create once and use often. And one of the challenges that we all have is that we tend to create content uniquely over and over and over again. And that's a time-consuming and expense-consuming process. And so what we need to do is think about the distribution outlets that we have for our content. Think about when we create content, how do we create it such that it can be used in multiple places, how it can be chunked up and used in smaller parts if we need to, and how we expect people to consume that content. And if we think about that first, that I think will drive much smarter decisions on content production in the first place. So we have a question of new technologies that you're considering. Oh my gosh, we are digesting about as much new technology as we possibly can at the moment. I think the dichotomy that people have to keep in mind is that we're in a world in which people are simultaneously trying to manage their old systems of record, which are all the legacy systems that exist. And in the association business, we have a lot of those legacy systems, many of which are proprietary in nature. And we're trying to balance those with all of the newer cloud and mobile technologies, which I call systems of engagement. And how do you get those two things to connect? Because if you approach it from the perspective of just rolling out systems of engagement, independent of what you're doing on the back end, you're going to create a very unsatisfying customer experience, ultimately. And your customers will call you on it because they can go to the social networks and complain about it if you don't have it right. So it's that balance between saving money on your old systems, investing the proceeds in new systems, and making sure that the two connect. And then we have one last question. What are you doing to enhance members' understanding of technology? And actually, as I say, we're a technology association, so we're blessed in many ways with a high level of understanding, but we are placing much, much more emphasis on training and skills development in the content and document management space than we ever have before. So we have a full-fledged training program that covers 8 disciplines in the technology arena. We also have a certification called the Certified Information Professional Program that essentially allows people to build a baseline level of understanding of the impact of consumerization, the impact of cloud and mobile, and the impact of changing natures of work. So thank you all so much for the questions, appreciate them, and look forward to interacting with you on the conference.